Campbell, and he's telling me about some award that I'm eligible for. Well, this is a real surprise to me. And I look at the other gentlemen who are being honored for this award too, and they're all friends of mine. And I know that this award could have gone to any one of these brothers, but I feel honored that I'm the one that they chose. I've had some good experiences that I'd like to tell you about. First of all, I was initiated into Delta Pi. I'm a charter member of Delta Pi, which is at Cheney State University. When I was going to Cheney, it was Cheney State Teachers College, but it's now Cheney University. I'm a charter member there, and I feel honored when I go on that campus and they recognize me as someone who's been around Alpha for many years now. I wish you the same honor, and we wish you the same respect for your fraternity as I have for Alpha. Alpha is in my heart, and I'm sure it's in your heart too because you're here. Even though you're not being honored, you're here, and someday you will be honored. I thank the brothers and you for this distinguished honor, and I also would like to thank their wives for allowing them to spend the time that they spend with Alpha Phi Alpha. Hold it. Stop it.
Okay. My name is Harold Simmons. I'm a graduate of Fort Valley State University, and I graduated in 1965. I was a member of Zeta Alpha Lambda, Gamma Zeta, I'm sorry, Gamma Zeta chapter, and Alpha Phi Alpha, and I was initiated in 1962, November the 10th. I'd like to thank the brothers for giving me the opportunity to serve in the legacy of Alpha. While attending Fort Valley, I enjoyed many experiences and made many new friends, and we're still together now, relating back to times that we shared at Fort Valley State. Okay, I'd like to, at this time, thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to go there, and it was without them I couldn't have made it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, just tell me a little bit, Brother Harold, about some of your college life.
Okay. I attended and was a mathematics major, so we had a mathematics club, and I was a member of that. I always loved going to sports events at Fort Valley, basketball, football, track. I'm still doing that now in high school, but I had many social events there, and so I was tied up with those who were in Greek, and also with the members who were not Greek. But that's basically it.
Okay. And what made you interested in pledging Alpha Phi Alpha?
Okay. When I first looked at the men of Alpha, there was a certain character that they presented, and it stood out. And they were always with good scholarship and service to mankind. So that ice cold feeling let me know that that's where I needed to be. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And go ahead, Brother Harrell.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Brother Simmons, for your time, and Zeta Alpha Lambda, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jennings Coleman. I'm a native of Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in Atlanta, attended Berean Junior Academy Elementary School and Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta. I have one sister. My parents were Lily Mae and Jennings Coleman, and we lived in Atlanta all my life. I graduated from high school and attended Morehouse College, where I was a two-sport athlete. And being an athlete, I always wanted to exemplify some of my former coaches and attend college, and I did just that. I was able to matriculate at Morehouse College. I played football for 4 years, where I was an all-city quarterback for 3 of those years, a baseball player, and other than that, I have 3 grown sons, all of whom are college graduates. As of right now, I am retired. I am a former assistant principal in Broward County Schools, Fort Lauderdale High School, Fort Lauderdale High School, Blanche Ely High School, and Boyd Anderson. I retired from Boyd Anderson. And before that, I was an athletic director at Blanche Ely High School, Hallandale High School, a former head football coach at Hallandale High School, where my first year, where I had the first winning season there, and I was selected as a co-coach of the year by the Sun-Tatler newspaper. I've had a great career. I've been retired 18 years. I'm married to Sandra Coleman. I haven't been married before. And as I said before, I have 3 grown sons. One of my sons is a former military man who served in Iraq. My middle son graduated from Morehouse, and the other son is a former college football player. And at this time, when I attended Morehouse College, being an athlete, I watched the fraternities, and I never really considered being in a fraternity until one of my friends, who was on the baseball team, suggested, "Why don't you pledge?" And I said, "Well, no, not really." And then I manned up and I became friends with members of the Alpha chapter, Alpha Rho, the oldest fraternity at Morehouse College. I pledged in 1960. I went over the burning sands in 1960, and I really, really enjoyed the friendship, the camaraderie, and what the fraternity was all about.
Greetings. My name is Brother Eugene C. Thomas. I pledged at that 88th House of Alpha, known as Gamma Psi chapter, which is seated at St. Augustine's then college, now university. I was initiated on December 11th of 1965 and went on to graduate from St. Augustine's in May of 1968.
Okay. Brother Thomas, tell me a little bit about your college experience and your college life.
It was a little bit of everything. I never forgot why I was there, and of course that would be to earn my degree, which I did in a 4-year period. But the other thing I think that was so amazing was the broad spectrum of life that I learned about. I learned about how to socialize. I learned that the culture that I brought and my upbringing that I brought to St. Augustine was just one part of the puzzle that people from North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Florida and even as far as Illinois. My roommate was from Boston, Massachusetts. So everybody was bringing their culture into this little campus known as St. Augustine's College. And I think the blending of these cultures was what I later learned was so fascinating, that it all blended, but understanding that we were there for one reason, I think made this blending of cultures such an easy process.
And why did you choose Alpha Phi Alpha as the fraternity that you chose to join?
One name, Moses Golat. Let me give you a very short backstory. Many people that I've talked to had role models in their community, some of whom were, in this case, alphas. Because my school was 60-40 black-white, the teachers that taught me did not come from my neighborhood in high school. I had no idea where they lived. So one night on the campus, Moses Golat played football. He was an alpha. He just happened to be talking to a bunch of us guys. And I think the thing that really struck me was he was not putting down the other three fraternities. He was simply building up Alpha. And on that night, at that particular time, and I guess timing is everything, I was hooked. And so I went on through the process of paying the fees and entered into the pledge period.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to mention before we conclude, Brother Thomas?
I think that having served or having been a member of Alpha Phi Alpha for over 50 years and having being an alumnus of 2 HBCUs, I look with a little bit of sadness on the state of our black institutions. In many cases, we've lost our standing. If you don't believe it, ask the presidents of HBCUs, ask pastors of our black churches, and ask the presidents and leaders of our individual Alpha Phi Alpha chapters. Think what would happen if in each one of those 3 black institutions there was a greater level of participation and a greater level of pocketbook. Think how powerful we would be, and think about our increased standing in the national community. I dare say that there would not be the problems that we often suffer and that we often hear about, where our community is so marginalized. So I have watched the standing of our black institutions go from being revered. Think about how it was when you thought about the church and when we thought about our black colleges. There was a certain reverence. I think that reverence has been eroded, and so I pray that our black institutions will continue to thrive in spite of the loss of standing.
Okay. All right. Well, this will conclude my interview with Brother Thomas at this time. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, brothers. My name is Leonard Foster. I attended Benedict College from 1962 to 1966. I pledged Alpha at Benedict, Gamma Pi. There were 9 of us online, and we were brothers. We looked after one another. We had a grand old time. College life was quite different for us in that all through high school, for a southern black kid, college wasn't guaranteed. I had a sister an older sister who attended Spelman. And what I remember more about that was my mom and dad agonizing over being able to send that money down to Atlanta every so often. And at the time I said, I'll never put them through that. So when it became time for me to finish high school, I took every standardized test that was offered. And I believe, as memory serves me, I passed one test well enough to be offered a $150 scholarship. And around the same time, I took the Air Force entrance exam. And I was one of 4 students in my class who passed that test. I received literature from the Air Force and from the scholarship situation, and I said, I think I'd rather go to college.
But I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha, and I'll be an Alpha